Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. And one thing we'll let you know on the show today, it doesn't matter who the Washington Redskins play from here on out. They got to win, baby. Just win, baby. We'll be right back.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
And the ball is being spread around all over the place, receiver-wise, tight end-wise. Talk about just that.
One thing about this offense, Gruden, he's good. He's good at making sure that the ball is, making his way around, and that's what it's about. It's about using the players that you have the best way possible. And we have guys like Crowder and Ryan Grant, and I can keep going on and on. Yeah, I mean those guys are explosive and amazing, and and we can't forget that Jordan Reed's out right now, and if he's back, he's healthy and he's going. So it's awesome to be on a team with so much talent.
Talk a little bit about Samaje and what he has done, and with Chris Thompson out, and he had 100 and some yards against the Saints, and the Giants almost 100 and some yards, but just how he's developing right now and having to carry that load.
For him, obviously, you see what he's done when he was in college. You knew already he was a great running back. But it's hard to get started when you're splitting the reps between three guys. So, now that he's getting the full load of the reps in practice and stuff, he's starting to see things a little bit better than he did at first. And running in the run game, it's all about trusting that the offensive linemen are going to be here, making sure the receivers are blocking the right people. And as he gets comfortable in practice, and he gets those big games in the run game during the game, he gets comfortable with seeing those things. He knows where the hole is going to be. He knows when he needs to cut it back. He can read the linebackers and things like that. And he's doing a good job, man. It's a lot of load to become a full-time back and a third down back and replace, Chris Thompson and Rob Kelly. And going to Dallas is not going to be easy to win, but we got to be prepared. We will come in and watch this film, put this behind us, and go to Dallas and prepare and get ready. And they're hungry just like we are. They're missing a lot of players like we are, and they're hungry for a win. And they're playing. We're pretty much in the same boat, so we're playing for the same thing. And so we got to come out there physical and beat them at their home.
Welcome back to the show. As you know, we were talking about the Washington Redskins, and each and every week seemed to be a big week now. So it matters little who they play. They must win out to get into the playoffs. Everything is so tight in the NFC East as well as the NFC period. Guys, what do you think? They can't afford to slip anywhere.
You guys have been around the NFL far longer than I have. When was the last time?
Mike, you've been doing the show for 33 years.
These
are babies.
When was the
Me and you've been around.
When was the last time in recent memory, do you remember a team that had only 3 players that had started on offense all year? That all the rest of them are injuries? That 18 of your 22 starters have been injured? Only 3 offensive players have played every game?
I know, but isn't that going on around the league?
I don't think to that extent, Tony.
Well, Dallas is in that same boat, and some of the other teams. But the thing about it is Jordan Reed's been out for 5 straight weeks and is going to be out against Dallas again. But Gary and Tony always say the next man up. And the thing about it is the Redskins have been playing really pretty good with those people being gone.
Well, they ran the ball a lot better with those guys, and I don't know if it was the personnel or was schematically
I think it's
different.
people to also understand, like certain people to understand when they get their chance, the opportunity to play, that they got to go out and perform. They got to go out and do the job even better than their predecessors. And that's important that you go out and do the job better.
The
But
biggest,
what-
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead, go
the
ahead.
biggest free agent signing they had in the offseason was Ty Nsekhe. When you think that Trent's been injured and he was also able to move into guard, I mean, and then he started last week at left tackle. I mean, that was the
I like
smartest thing
his
the
play,
Skins,
too.
smartest thing the Skins did.
Well, but at the same time, you have to look at everything that's transpiring now. And I'm going to ask you this, Gary. When we played, we had 6 weeks. You guys had maybe 4 weeks or 2 days. You hit during the week. You had to practice like you wanted to play. Now around the league, they've eased up on everything, and there's more injuries this year than I've seen. There's a plethora of injuries that you don't see. You haven't seen in the past.
I don't think your body's prepared for it.
That's
your
what-
body
exactly.
gets used. At some point in time, your psychology and your pain threshold, it changes over time because you get used to it. Initially, if somebody punches you in the arm, it hurts. But if you keep punching me in the arm, at some point in time, I don't really feel it anymore. And I think, it's good for players because they look at it like it's longevity of their career, but it's kind of hurting them too because they're feeling that pain immediately because they're not used to it. And then when they feel it, they stop playing.
What about the weight training, Tony? Did you guys do all that kind of weight
Oh,
training?
yes. You had
Okay.
to. But you did it more the longer the years went on. Matter of fact, the first person to start working everybody out all day and having them stay was here, Washington, D.C.
D-boy.
And what you have to do now is you look at, they've cut that down. They do lift, but they've cut the hitting down. And like Gary said, I don't think their bodies are prepared for that. Now, you look at the 5 games that the Redskins have left. And, we can't count Dallas because Dallas is going to be a good game anyway. But you look at the games that they must win, and you look at the L.A., what's the name? Chargers.
They started to play good.
And you look at Denver, and you look at teams like that. These are teams in Arizona, all of them
Giants
have
again.
potential to be good. I leave the NFC East out because they'll play good against them. But what do you guys think about these other teams?
I don't know about Donna, but we're seeing the same team. I think there's a core of defensive players here that can make this one of the better defenses in the league, and they haven't had as many injuries on defense. I think they played a shutdown game against the Giants, essentially, if it hadn't been for the one pick. That was a shutdown game. I think you're going to see a shutdown defense the remainder of the season.
It's the Giants. The Giants are not the same team as old, and even though they played
They
well,
did it to the Seahawks.
but
They
look-
almost did it to the New Orleans
But look
Saints.
how much Eli really struggled. I mean, his passes wasn't even on target at all.
Yeah.
But I think some of the games coming up, the San Diego Chargers and the Denver games, those are key. But I'm with Tony. They've got to literally win out to get into the
And
playoffs.
it's got to be one game at a time. You can't even worry about who it is or what it is.
Yeah.
Like you said, they had a shutdown game a few games ago. Okay, the game before that, they did not have a shutdown game. They gave up 500 yards. So what it had to be, consistent play each and every week. If you want to be a playoff team, you got to play like one.
I don't even remember the last time they had players like Swearinger, and then they've got Breland, and they have Josh Norman. Greg Fuller is turning out to be one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the league. I don't even remember the last time they had a secondary like that. This is a playoff secondary.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to keep teams to 17 points or less. That's
Yeah.
just what it
There
is.
you
I scored
go.
30
Hello.
points. I mean, so
And that's been every
got
game.
better.
I love our defensive coordinator. Our
Yeah.
defensive coordinator is going to
Dusty.
we're going to make them great. But right now, we're not playing great because I scored 30 points. I'm supposed to win.
It's
And
Jonathan.
they're giving
With
a-
that
and they're-
being said, you'll never hear me say it again because they're right about that. The defense should hold them 17 or less.
What?
And we're 17 over for this commercial, so we'll be right back.
See, Dallas came here and took one from us, and we got to go out there and take one back. So it's a wild card chase right now, and we got to really get after it. We can't afford to lose one, specifically to Dallas.
Well, I can only speak for the defense. The defense, we was balling in the first half, and came back out in the second half, we kept balling. The main thing is just stay consistent. So I kept telling the guys, stay consistent. We got to get a win. It's, only thing on my mind now is get a win against Dallas. They beat us at our home, so we got to go in their territory and beat them.
Well, you know, at this time of year, you don't think about opponents as much as you think about what strength do you have against these opponents and what strengths they may have against you guys. And, you know, when I look at it now, you look at like a Dallas team, you know that you have to run on this team some kind of way. And you have to stop their run because they got the big offensive lineman. Then you go to, I keep wanting to call them San Diego, but you go to L.A. now, if you call it the Chargers, and they got a quarterback that's a hot dog that can throw that ball well, a tight end that can catch the ball. Now they got two defensive ends that are really tough. So, and then you go to Arizona where they got a running back that just chomping at the bits to run, and they got a wide receiver that's still playing well. So now you look at each of these teams. Washington need to have a strength against each of them and a weakness. Now, to me, like I said, with Dallas, they got to run on them and stop the run.
I think they can definitely run on Dallas. Perine is really stepping up 2 100-yard games in a row. They can run on Dallas. They're going to have a little more trouble running on the Chargers. They can definitely run on the Cardinals.
I don't know if I agree with that. The Chargers got good pass rushers, but they're not that great against the run.
No, they're not. I think the Skins can run against the Chargers. I think they can run on them.
Yeah, I think the strength in all the games come up with, I think the Redskins can score on each team. It goes back to the defensive end of the ball as far as shutting them down, because you look at Dallas, the Chargers, all of those two teams have good quarterbacks. They can pretty much run the ball too. So it's going to come down, I think, to the defensive pressure on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's where the Redskins' strength need to kick in on all of those teams, for all those teams they got to face.
McGee, you said in the last segment, 17 points is all they need to give up. And what I see about this defense, and I'm going to ask you, I mentioned it last week, they got the 2 C's. At halftime, they don't have the concentration, and look like the end of the game, sometimes they don't have the conditioning. And you know as a player, that's what you look for.
Especially the conditioning part is the most part, because what happens, you lose your concentration when you get tired. When you get tired, that takes your concentration out of the game. That's when you tend to make mental errors that cost you the games towards the end of the game. So conditioning could be a portion of it as well. And also, again, I always come back to preparation. Have I prepared myself? Conditioning-wise, have I prepared myself? Have I prepared myself with my game plan? Have I prepared myself from a defensive standpoint? It's really important that I know what the offensive person is going to do. Not as much for the offense, that's much for the skill positions, the receivers and stuff like that, because you can kind of get away with it. But on defensive side, you got to know and anticipate what we're doing.
And you know, you fans, for all of you that listening to what he was saying, I hope you heard what he said. He said, I have to prepare myself. And that's the one thing this team needs to do. Each person has to prepare themselves. They got to look at this game and see what strength they got, what they're weak against, and they got to make some additional moves to make it work.
And also allow my teammates to hold me accountable. Let my teammate hold me accountable for what it is that I'm supposed to go out there and do. This is what I'm supposed to do. Make sure that I do it. If I don't do it, let me know about it. And vice versa.
Yeah, and I heard DJ Swearinger, that's the guy in the locker room that I hear over and over that talks about accountability, or else, you know, he holds himself accountable too, but he talks about them breaking down as a team overall. But my question, at this stage of the game, in the season, why are they not in condition better? I mean, they play.
But we just speculating, Donna. I knew you threw them.
Well, I'm just saying.
I said that.
I heard the same thing you did.
Okay, well then let me throw this out to you guys. Maybe the guys that are playing now haven't played the whole year, so they're not going to be in the greatest condition.
That's valid. That's definitely valid.
Think about it. They're getting used to playing plays.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting on a practice squad,
turn the bus off, Donna. You always
bringing guys in off the street with little or no practice.
It could be some of the main people still out of shape.
Yeah, because too. It reflects energy.
Well,
and I'm not used to game energy. Takes energy out of, because now you're excited about what you're getting ready to do, about the play.
It really does.
And you have some wasted energy because you're new to it.
What's going to be one thing they have done, though, I've noticed this year, and you can verify this, and that's they've moved Josh Norman around a little bit more this year on the better receiver, because they've got Dez, and then they're going to have Melvin Gordon, who already has, if I'm not mistaken. Keenan Allen has 1,000 yards, but Melvin Gordon is tough catching the ball out of the backfield, too. You got some tough people to cover there.
They had that, Mike, but we're going to have to take a break before she answers that question. I know Donna will be good. She got to throw people in the bus. You got to give her at least 30 seconds to do that. When we come back, we'll talk about the stress. What do they need to do against those guys? You want to do another, that's your right. But I tell you what, we know one thing. The Washington Redskins can be in it if they want to be. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, I just saved a whole lot of money by switching to Geico.
Huh. We should take a closer look at Geico.
You know, Geico insures way more than cars, boats, motorcycles, even RVs.
Geico insures RVs? What's an RV?
The thing we've been stuck on for 5 years.
Wait, I'm not a real moose?
We've been over this, Jeff.
We're stickers.
I'm not a real moose.
Give him some space.
Deep breaths, Jeff.
What's a sticker?
Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
Welcome back, and we'll finish that question, Mike, that you had, and you said you feel like they're moving Norman around a lot more than they were at the beginning of the year.
Well, we thought that he should be on the best receiver last year. That came up on the show at least a dozen times, and I'm seeing a little bit more jostling going on back there. I'm seeing Norman picking up some of the better receivers. He's definitely against Dez in Dallas, and I think
But Dez is not the best there anymore.
And Keenan Allen. No, but he'll be against Keenan Allen, who has 1,000 yards, and I think that's a smart move.
The best is our tight end.
Exactly.
And Monty Nicholson should be back, which will be a good thing. And you're telling me Jonathan Allen may be back, Tony?
Yeah, they mentioned that he was doing a little bit more and that he could be back by the 15th game.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not concerned with that. Let's start looking at that NFC East. And the one thing that helps the Redskins still be in it, because other than Philadelphia, everybody is pretty much in the same boat. Yeah. And I said everybody, you're talking about Dallas and the Redskins, because the Giants is what they are. But that's around the whole league, guys. And, you know, they moving Josh around maybe because it's different leading guys now. The people a few games ago that were the big-time people, now you got other people stepping up, so they got to move him.
Everybody talks about the NFC East and the NFC as having a lot of wild card possibilities, teams with 10-6 records, some 11-5 records that may not win their divisions. The cool thing about the last 4 weeks, if you look at it, they're almost all division games.
That's what
and so these guys are going to be knocking off each other. So those records aren't going to be as good as you think they are.
Yeah, but it's not that many in the NFC East that have 11-5 records. I think that they're more or less, they're right in the middle. Now, you look over on the other side, you do have more teams winning, but at the same time, in the NFC period, you got about 7 or 8 teams that are right around.
But they're all playing each other in the end. So.
Yeah, and they normally do that with the NFC East games because they think that they're going to come down to those matchups. But like Tony said, if you look at the people that's still in the hunt, they're at like 5 and 6 right now. Those are not good records. I think that teams need to win out because they're not going to make the playoff at 9 and 7.
No, I don't think so.
No. You know what? If they win out, that's a nice way momentum. They take
them
into the playoffs, and that would be great things. And sometimes it's better to have momentum than have an early starting momentum than you flounder at the end of the season.
I don't know. I just think this team has what it takes. I think it's got a great defense. Doxson's coming on. P. Ryan's running the ball. You're going to get almost all your offensive linemen back. I love Chase Rouillet at center.
They got what it takes.
We've seen the performances of games they should have won.
Exactly.
So we
I
know
can
that
think of 4 games they should have won.
But it's the breakdowns at the end of the game that's killing them over and over.
Kirk has a certain aggressiveness. I mean, I saw a lot of it in the Giants game where he would just get frustrated and he said, let's go get him, guys. I mean, there's a new Kirk out on that field.
But, you know, you can't put it on one individual. It's a lot of mistakes being made this cost.
Especially that person there, too. And my quarterback, I know everybody wants to say, but not the most important person.
He didn't
on the
jump
field.
off sides.
Typically the least most important.
He didn't hold. He didn't
grab a face mask.
It's the offensive line, defensive line,
on
that
the
guys that got
it's
to make
all
the
the
plays
other guys.
at the end of the
I
day.
mean, you think about it.
It's a team sport, 100%.
It's been mistakes, and that's what they have to
Kirk
eliminate.
gets too much blame and gets too much credit. It's been that way. You know, when things doesn't go wrong, they blame Kirk. They shouldn't do that.
Exactly. And the thing about it is this. The whole team has mistakes that have cost them.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to eliminate. If you're going to be a playoff team, we talking about run the table, and I'm talking about any game.
Yeah.
Eliminate those mistakes. You can't jump off when it's 3rd down and short. You can't hold. You cannot get the play in from the sideline.
Especially when you need it. Especially when you're at that point when you need it. You need everything to go right. And then you have a mistake like that happens. That's the hard part. And that's what sets you back. And that's what disappoints everybody because you know we could have won and then we didn't.
And then you be kicking yourself. But I think it's the running game. If you think about the Redskins turning that offense weapon around, it's the running game in the last few games.
And what about Junior Gillette? Because I think I mentioned to Donner to you that I didn't see Preston Smith in all that much
Yeah,
against
Juju's coming on. He got his first sack
yeah,
against the
and
Giants.
and I
see
think
a
that
lot
made
more of
Ryan
him.
Kerrigan a little more powerful.
Right, and he know that he's making me a little more weaker because I should have been out of this commercial a few minutes ago. I don't know why Mike do that. We'll be back in a moment, but I'll tell you what, me and Mike will probably be fighting.
It takes hard work, grit, and determination to become a professional football player like Luke Kuechly. But it only takes 15 minutes to see how much you could save on car insurance with Geico.
Ah, the Ravens, never fleeting, still are winning, still are winning. But when the pests come knocking at your door, and the bees that bumble sound like the roar of the stadium's rumble. Touchdown! And you see the ants and roaches creeping and crawling as the moonlight hits the floor. Have no fear, for PMSI will rid you of those pests to scamper and scatter on your floor. Once they treat, nevermore.
Hey, Tony, what is up? I am back to talk about Dallas, Washington, Part 2. Well, you know, in the first installment, the Cowboys came out on top 33-19, thanks in part to Zeke Elliott. He had 150 yards rushing. But sadly, this time, there ain't no Zeke. So what is we going to do? Alfred Morris, the former Redskin, will come in and tap dance on your injured defense and put us in position to win. Now, anytime Alfred gets us inside the 40-yard line, Dan Bailey, our kicker, he's back from injury. His big toe will boot field goals, and we'll win the game that way. Maybe. Because, you know, this game is a toss-up. Dallas is 5-6, Washington 5-6. It's a playoff game. So no one knows who's going to win, especially because the Redskins play good on the road. But we just get late word about who's going to win this game. What's happening, baby? Who do you think's going to win the game? How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Dallas wins. Hey, Tony, we'll talk to you next week.
Welcome to the Sports Bar Challenge. This week's game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Seattle to play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Seahawks. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Seahawks. Greavy's likes the Seahawks. Fairfax Outback likes the Eagles. Fairfax Hard Times likes the Seahawks. Harry's Ale House likes the Seahawks. Look for this to be a hard, tough game between two very physical teams, but pick the Eagles on the road. I like Philadelphia.
We're proud to announce Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Scholarship Contest is back yet again this year. Eligible candidates will receive laptops if indeed your composition is selected. If you are a graduating high school senior, send in your composition. The subject this year is what can your generation do to impact how social media has affected our nation's security? So get those essays in. Hey, we're on What's Bugging You, all about the NFL and the fans. And with us, we have Zach from PMSI. Zach, I came home one day and the whole front door was lit up with ladybugs, over 200 ladybugs. Now, they say a ladybug is good luck, but they also bite. Now, I didn't want to kill them or crush them, so I just tried to shoo them all off the door so I could get in. What's going on with that?
I mean, usually they show up with sun coming in, front of the house, nice pretty day. Those bugs are just going to light it up like the 4th of July. So you want to get those out of there, power wash that down, spray it with PMSI. We can take care of that for you. And just give us a call and we'll take care of it for you.
You are everywhere.
Everywhere, every time.
You can solve every pest problem.
Yes, sir.
You're my guy.
I'm your guy.
So let's be what's bugging you this week and tell me who you got.
For what's bugging you this week, we have Keith.
What's bugging me in the NFL is whatever happened to the we versus me. Football is the ultimate sport. 11 players on the field at one time. But because of a salary cap, it's really made up of a few guys. Whatever happened to we, the role player, the long snapper? Whatever happened to everyone blocking, everyone running downfield, special teams, the stuff that's important? What's bugging me is me versus we.
Thanks, Keith. I agree to you to some extent with that. I mean, players, they're playing for their lives. They're playing with those contracts. They're trying to get the big money as soon as they can. And for a football player, your career could be 2 years, could be 7. I mean, you got to make it last as long as you can. So if there's one guy trying as hard as he can, as much as we want it to be a team sport, he's trying to feed his family. So that doesn't bother me too much that he's trying to do his best out there. And that's what I have to say about that.
I like what you said. I think Jay Gruden does an awful lot to instill the team spirit in this team. And I think they all like him, they admire him, and they all hang together as one unit. And that's what's bugging us this week. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Hire a Veteran Challenge and Live Show. It's coming up on Monday, December 11th, 2017. It's got a hiring fair and live show. Join us for Tony McGee as he hosts his second Veterans Job Fair as part of his show, Pro Football Plus, with Charles Mann, Dexter Manley, Santana Moss, and Gary Clark. Celebrating more than 30 years of broadcasting excellence, Pro Football Plus is an excellent platform to gain positive exposure in the local area. Meet qualified veterans, transitioning soldiers, and their spouses. In order to get involved, call this number, 703-282-0792. If you're a business and you want to be part of this job fair, this is the only place to go, so call now. Tony, on this week's picks, Tony's doing 28-26, Donna's 30-24, Gary's 38-16 in first place, and Mike is a poor second at 37-17. Minnesota at Atlanta. Tony's picking Atlanta. He always picks Atlanta. He's probably going to win. Donna's got Minnesota, Gary's got Minnesota, and I have Atlanta. New England at Buffalo. Tony's got Buffalo, Donna's got New England, Gary's got New England, I have New England. Houston at Tennessee. Tony's got Tennessee, Donna has Houston, Gary has Tennessee, I have Tennessee. Philadelphia at Seattle. Tony has Seattle, Donna has Philly, Gary has Philly, and Mike is back with the Hawks. And Carolina at New England. Tony has New Orleans. Everybody's got New Orleans. So we'll see. This will be the week that separates the NFL players from the nobodies.
The only thing he said right about this is the week. And when I give my tip out, they don't worry about later. This is the week. Worry about now. Now, we got a few seconds. What they need to do to win the rest of these games?
Well, we know that the Chargers coming up is the big one, and we know they can't rush the ball. I'm sorry. So throw on them.
No comment.
60 minutes, not making any mistakes.
I think the mistakes is the big part of it. And you know, one thing about it is, we talk about this team. We know that they have the talent, but the mistakes must go. If they do that and play one game at a time, we'll be sitting here for the playoffs. So once again, not goodbye, but in the minute.